My studio is a disaster, and today we're gonna do a studio makeover. Probably will take more than one day. I'll be honest, I have a lot of stuff in here and I'm messy. So we've got a lot to work with. But I have a few really cool pieces that I'm super excited about that I recently acquired that are making my studio dreams come true. And I'm also gonna go get a couple of other things that I've been holding off on purchasing for whatever reason, and I think it's finally time just to bite the bullet and do it. So that's what we're doing today. I'll be back, okay? Don't miss me too much. I've decided that first we're gonna get McDonald's because I really want a Diet Coke and chicken nuggets. Then we're gonna go to Home Depot and we're gonna get a few things. And then if I have time, I want to get a rug from Target. I try to avoid getting stuff from Target. I try to get everything secondhand as much as possible, but I really need a rug. I'm damaging the carpet, and I haven't been able to find one on Facebook Marketplace, so we're gonna do it anyway. I'm about to eat these very fast in the car and then go into Home Depot. This oddly congealed meat byproduct just hits so hard, you know? First thing, we're good. Not super exciting, but it's gonna help. It's louder than I hoped for. That was not bad. It was $152, and it's gonna make a big difference. So that was stop one. Now let's go to Target. Shopping for a rug is honestly a little bit stressful. So I'm glad that's over. Just the awkward way that it hangs out of the cart. I was not a fan. I was not a fan of hauling that thing around. But we got our errands done, and now we're gonna go home and start organizing and putting together the studio. I have a lot to do. I'm definitely not gonna get it all done today, but we're at least gonna get the process started.
Yes, it is. I'm a fan. Look at that. And how much would one have to pay for your phone? While and she's going to come to visit her mother.
Very sweet. But are you
Okay, so I started doing some cable management. I still have to figure out what's happening right here and kind of hide that. But I did some stuff. Did it in a weird way, I'll be honest, but it works. Less cords dangling. Cleared up this space under here. I used to have like a bunch of prints and stuff, but I want to get better at organization, and they get dusty under there anyways, so I always have to dust them, and it's like an unnecessary chore. So I decided to take anything that was stored under here and I'm putting it away. I still have this side of the room to do. There's still a lot to be done. But I also built this shelf, and it's gonna go in the closet, and some of the crap that's over here, and honestly in the drawers, can be better organized on here. And I have also acquired some baskets. These ones are from the Dollar Tree, and these ones I think from Marshall's. So we're gonna get organizing and make this look better. I've been putting this off for such a long time, and it already feels so good to start chipping away at it, and I still have like half this room to do, but at least this side I can look at and feel good. And I'm really not looking forward to what I am about to do, so this closet is just such a mess. I don't know, man. There's just so much in this closet right now, and I really want to paint these doors because they're really old and kind of gross. But I kind of want to paint them a fun color, not just white, so I'm holding off on that for now, and we're gonna see what I go with. I'm not sure. So that's gonna be for another day. This is all the trash from the studio clean out. 3 full bags, 1 small, and a bunch of cardboard I need to break down. decorated studio organization is now complete. I'm so happy with how everything turned out. It feels so much better in here. And so I'm going to show you everything that I did, and you can let me know in the comments what you think. I'm really happy with this bookshelf now being over here. I think it adds a lot of interest to this big wall. My original plan with my old studio setup was that this huge wall would just be covered in art all the time. But what I think makes more sense is to fill this wall with more things that make me happy, that I use, my supplies, all that good stuff. And then I have this little blank wall over here so I can kind of focus on one art piece at a time. And then I can use the rest of my house to hold the art pieces that I finished instead of just hoarding them all in the studio, so I can kind of live with them in other areas and not be so precious about keeping them in here. So that was a really good thing to realize, and I'm really glad I liked how it turned out, because moving it again would be a little bit of a hassle. Not too bad, but not something I'm eager to do. I love using things for things other than their intended purpose, so you'll see that a lot. This is a ceramic piece that I got from an artist on Instagram. I'll put her handle on the screen. It is one of my favorite art pieces I've ever invested in. It's so gorgeous. And I believe originally it was supposed to be a plant pot, and I use it to hold brushes, and it makes me so happy. This is something that's supposed to hold tea, but I kind of use it for, there's oil pastels, push pins, dried florals, some twine, other things like that. And I just think it's so pretty. I'm really love having it. This is a desktop easel with some books on top. This is an edition of In Her Studio magazine that my studio was featured in. I like to have it up here, remind me of how far I've come, because this was from 2021. And fun fact is, I didn't even have like a designated studio at the time. It was just the way I was staging my bedroom. So when they reached out to me, I had to take everything out of our bedroom and just fully embrace it like it was my studio only. And that was a whole thing. I just feel like it really showed that you can really make the most of what you have, because I didn't have a studio. I was featured in a magazine about studios just because of how I marketed my work. So I was proud of that. This was a candle that I now just use as a little decorative bowl. I haven't decided what to store in it, but I thought it was really pretty. Then we've got red button Hoya plant. Kind of need to show her some love. These are some new glass candle holders, and they're from my mom. I really love them. Embroidery thread, some, gosh, what is it called? It's like a fluid. Got some shells and rocks, assorted natural earth pigments. This I love. It's a vintage watercolor palette made from glass, and I have used it, and I also love it as decoration, but I just think it's so beautiful. And then we've got a home printer on the bottom. In my opinion, the thing that made the biggest difference was getting a rug, and not just any rug, but a big rug, because I had one before and it was pretty small and it only filled up maybe like this amount of the room. It just wasn't the right size, but I made do because that's just what I had. And so now having this, I feel like it just adds so much to the room, and I love it so much. This is now where I'll be keeping my acrylic paper. So that's chilling over here for the time being. Easy access. A sketchbook that I collage the front of that I really enjoy. Obsessed with collages. I just think they are so freeing and fun. This is my favorite watercolor palette by Sun to Sea Design. I plug this thing everywhere. I love it. It's just the cutest thing, the best thing. So it has to stay on display, even though I'm currently in more of an acrylic painting era. We've got a propagated plant, incense tray, a painting in an old frame that used to be my great-grandma's. This is a like copper pigment. It's gum arabic powder to make paint. We've got used matches because, I don't know, I just thought it was cool. Dried flowers, pieces of like, I don't know, quartz or something. Candles chilling. A painting I'm gonna paint over, so don't get attached on the easel. I just absolutely despise it. I mean, there's like some things I like, but overall, can't wait to paint over it. So pretend that's not there. This is so exciting. I'm obsessed with this. It's a Facebook Marketplace find, and I'm gonna use it to store all kinds of art supplies. Right now it just has this like extra cloth thing that I'm gonna use for a craft, and then it opens up like this on both sides. Oh my gosh, the sucker can come out. And I just have a bunch of paint in it. But I am slowly transitioning from the Winsor & Newton acrylic to natural acrylic paint because it's very eco-friendly. It's not like liquid plastic like other paint. All natural ingredients. So I only have a few colors of that. As I slowly use up these, I'm introducing these one at a time because you got to use what you got. And then I'm also going to invest in some of their, they came out with a more fluid formula that I'm really excited about. I drove an hour to pick up that vintage sewing box from a sweet older woman named Carol. And she kept it in such good condition, and when I went to pick it up, she was like, "Oh, are you into sewing?" And unfortunately, I'm not. I'm still learning. And I was intending to use it for paint and art supplies anyways, but I didn't want to tell her that, and I was like, "Oh, you know, not quite yet, like I'm a beginner." And she was like, "Well, I loved using this to hold all my supplies, and I love sewing for this organization that gives clothes to children in need." And so she gave me the name of the organization and everything. Sweetest human ever. So sweet. And now I'm like, well, I better get on learning to sew so I can clothe some needy children. Like, what am I doing? Just using it for paint. Obviously, you've got my printer, scanner, scale for postage, and postage little label printer. I have this big, like golden hammered bowl to hold wires in a somewhat cute way. After I did all the cable management, there's just all the cables and plugs and stuff in there, just to keep it off the floor, I guess. And then this, I painted Enchanted Forest Green from Bear, and I think it turned out well. It's not absolutely flawless or perfect or anything, but I really liked the color. I didn't really like the shade of white that it was before. It's just nice to have a little refresh on something that I already own. And then got some art books on top with this cute little dish I got from 27th Street Studio. She does like curated vintage shop collections, and I got that from her, that little butterfly, and I really like it. And then got this little beautiful statue with the dried plants and top. And then this is new. I have also had this, I think it was from World Market years ago, and I cracked it. You can kind of tell, but I think at first glance no one else is gonna notice, and so it's back up on the wall. I've got some washi tape and florals, more pigments, another watercolor gouache palette, also from Sun to Sea Design. Sarah, I love your work, big fan. And then some dried flowers. Here's the dried flowers I have hanging up here. Currently always working on adding more because I want it to be more full. I think that would be really cool. And of course we've got my desk, which I have covered with this drop cloth because I really want to get a new desk. Really bad. But for now, it just protects the surface and makes me feel like I just don't have to even focus on the desk at all. Because the desk also has lots of storage, so like compartments that open up like this upwards, and so there's lots of crevices and stuff, and when you're painting or drawing on a surface with lots of cracks, it's just kind of a nightmare. So I like to have it covered so that it's not a problem. I don't know what I was thinking getting that in the first place, but I've had it for years. So one day I will have a much better table in the middle of the room as the centerpiece, but for now, very happy with this. And we've got my sketchbook. This one is my current one, and she's loud, she's proud, very cute. And she's by Stoneburner Bookbinding. She did a really good job. I think it's super fun to paint with. Some recently finished little paintings, some little experiments. Of course, I had to add some antidepressants in there just for fun. It's like modern meets the vintage teacup. I think that's fun. And then I love to repurpose candle holders in all kinds of ways, and so this was a gorgeous candle that now I use for paint water. We've got the glass slab with leftover paint on it that I need to scrape off. This is actually a vase, but I use it to hold paintbrushes and my ruler and scissors and stuff. And then we've got another little, I don't even know what that basket was originally for, but you know, maybe it could have been what I'm using it for now. And then this is just a glass plate that I use as a palette in addition to the glass slab. Originally I just got this glass slab from Jackson's Art to make and mix paint on when I was making all my watercolor paint, which I still do, but I'm just, you know, not painting as much with watercolor right now. And so now I've just been using it for acrylic paint, and so multi-purpose. Love that guy. And then we've got this gorgeous woven blanket. I think it was from like Valley Press or something like that. And of course it's got like a vintage vibe with flowers, so I love everything about it, and it kind of lives in the studio. So far it doesn't have paint on it, which is an accomplishment. I almost forgot to show you, I organized all my drawers too. These drawers really suck, so beware, I guess. But we've got all of my printer ink and extra stuff. What's this one? Candles and paint stuff. Oh, and then these are, I cut them in half and I use them on my right hand middle finger because I get painting calluses, so they kind of help prevent that. Love those. This one, look at that. Way more organized than it was, let me tell you. That's my old laptop I need to properly get rid of, and paper trimmer and miscellaneous stuff. And then tape, hot glue gun, assorted stuff. Last but certainly not least, I have the closet, which is full of stuff, and it took me several hours to finish. So very, very glad that this is over with. There's this metal shelf I got from Home Depot, all put together, and I have shipping materials and envelopes, things for shipping, a pile of frames and canvases, regular printer paper and other paper. Underneath is extra labels and business cards. On top I've got some of the other paint water jars that I use, extra stickers, other prints. These are some acrylic papers that I already did the underpainting for, waiting to be used. I've got a little love note from Justin when I was really depressed one day. Picture of Nova. My sister made me this. It's a California dog face butterfly. This is a print from thesoulshineco. Her work is very pretty. I really like the color she uses. This was a pin from one of my friends, and we've got these posters I designed forever ago, and I didn't sell all of them, so they're just kind of chilling in here, probably for like whenever I do a pop-up market again. Some paintings. This one was a personal piece, and I really liked it, but it just didn't feel right to sell, and I just don't know where to put it, so it's just kind of chilling in here. And it's funny because when my mom saw this one, she put her hand like this and she was like, wow, it's so beautiful. She just couldn't handle the heart, and honestly I killed it with that heart. Anyway, then we've got Easy Up and other, like a little wagon and stuff that I use for pop-up markets when I've done them. Some recording equipment that is broken and I need to replace. Then we've got craft boxes, lots of cheap paint, stickers, glitter, extra washi tape, dried flowers, just so much craft stuff in both of these boxes, ribbons, you name it, it's probably in there. We've got the plant-based clear protective sleeves for prints of various sizes. This is an artwork archive where I kept a lot of paintings that were either personal or didn't sell, or I just want to keep as mementos. This is a sewing machine and a protective box for the sewing machine. We've got, these are some extra magnetic like hangers for prints, stickers, and thank you cards for orders. My business cards that are kind of outdated. This is a very, very old print. One of the first things that I got made for my business. And then we've got more packaging stuff for orders. It's like a recycled paper, tissue paper. More paper stuff for crafts and other things. And then a fabric pile. This is a big curtain that I need to use for something. And then we've got up here bigger plant-based protective sleeves and boxes that I've used for ornaments. A roll of watercolor paper that's pretty good quality that I need to use. Very big. Some like metal hoops for a DIY I wanted to do that I just haven't done. We've got, this is like the replacement vision board, but usually every year I make a vision board. This year my friends and I did this instead, but next year I want to go back to vision boards because I just find them really inspiring. This one's apparently upside down. And then there's also this one, which was the first one that I did. Wow, I guess I hung them both upside down. But this is the one from last year. That's the whole closet. It's all nice and organized. I can actually find things. It's so great. I also made this little fairy door. I was gifted the fairy door, I think it was from World Market from my sister. And then I added some like bead elements. This little pot with some dried flowers, some moss. I painted the whole thing. And it's just a little bit of whimsy right when you walk in. I think it's no surprise that as I'm venturing into more acrylic painting and some still life and some other things with my art itself, that I need to redo my studio space as well. I feel like the desire to express what's happening internally, externally, is so strong in artists, and I think it makes a lot of sense in this situation as well. Like, of course, it all starts in the heart, like going through something new changes your art, and then that kind of changes the space you're living in. Just continually spreads from there. And I think that's really cool. I just like that I've truly let go of that desire to keep myself small and predictable with my art and everything else. One of the fringe benefits of having my desk, my workspace now, in the middle of my studio instead of pressed up against a wall is there's a mindset shift that I've already noticed. There's just such a difference in facing a wall while you're creating. Most of the time your eyes are on the actual painting, right? But facing a wall versus facing this whole room and seeing everything of interest on all sides of me, like I just feel surrounded and it also feels open, and I just feel more like I'm surveying all these beautiful things around me at the same time. I'm not just like locked in and huddled and just downward facing. I'm just excited to see the ways that every little change that I make continually expands my creativity. I think life is so layered and nothing exists in a vacuum, so like everything does impact everything else. And it feels like such a small thing, like, oh my gosh, you just reorganized your studio. Like, you put objects in new places, but like movement is important, and not having a stale space is important. I mean, if it feels stale, I'm not just saying that like, oh, if you've had a space in a certain arrangement for a long time that automatically means something's stale. I don't believe that. But in my case, it was feeling stale, it was feeling chaotic and messy, and now I feel like I have places for all of these objects, and I feel like it's opened up more opportunity. So all of that to say, I'm just excited to see what's to come, and thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you made it to the end, I would love it if you'd leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.